We're going to try and do this talk while passing the whole time. We'll see how that works. But the remote's not working, so that's going to be fun. So this is a worlds collide. I find that often projects happen where things happen together. So you'll see the kid on the left in the front. That's Otto. And also on the screen. And then that's me, like 30-some years ago, playing in college. Well, I'm just doing a throw-in. That's not like the only picture I have, so it's great. You want to tell us about this?
When I was a lot younger, I played rec, and my goal was to become better at soccer, and it still is today.
This was his New Year's resolution 4 years ago, where he talks about how he wants to become a better player, and he wants to be good like his dad, because I'm really fast. So that was really cool to find. So when we build software as engineers, we build products that are kind of like, we have all these ideals, right? And then we just kind of devolve into, well, what if we could use ChatGPT? And so if you were to build an indoor soccer area, because your kid is turning every room in his house to an indoor soccer area, how would you do it? But then how would you do it if you're a software engineer? So JavaScript engineers historically have this challenge of, we just do, right? We don't worry about the constraints of the platform. We just kind of try and find a way to make it work. Oh, I missed the ball. This is actually really challenging. It's like two things at once, proving I can multitask. So anyway, I'm going to stop because I'm getting distracted. So ChatGPT has all these great ideas, but they're like, there's no actual answers. There's just like more questions. So what we really do is we go to Home Depot or Lowe's and we ask questions. But for this, they're like, what the fuck? You want turf on the inside of your house? Well, yeah, how do you glue it down? And they just walk away. So we obviously need to start with a good foundation.
Yep.
What makes a good foundation for an indoor soccer arena?
Foam, so it's easy on your joints.
This is true, especially old man hips like me. So that is foam blocks in our front room on top of vinyl. Just put them down. Didn't glue them, because it turns out we don't need it. And that is a 150-pound roll of turf that was delivered in the front of our driveway, blocking my car that I had to carry in by myself, which was really fun. It kind of feels like debugging the browser sometimes. So then, of course, obviously we write tests first, right?
Yeah.
So get that turf down. We're like, is it going to move? What did you do here?
I slid onto the turf, and I kept testing it.
Did it move?
Nope.
Were you happy with its performance?
Yeah, it was so heavy it didn't even move.
Have you found any regressions with this performance to date?
I hit my foot on the wooden part. And
Oh, well, you're getting ahead of the talk. But yeah, we haven't rehearsed this, obviously. So when you build an area for young kids, it's different than building it for yourself as an adult, and you find all sorts of little flaws. So this is where he trains with real people. This is called a rondo. You see his headband there. And basically, this is where they train over in Gilbert. So we're like, let's get some nets. It's like, oh, these don't quite look as good, but we'll try. We'll start. We'll see what happens. So I hung some nets up. Wasn't enough, obviously, but it's a good start. What's wrong with these nets?
They didn't do anything. They weren't fastened to each other. They were just there.
Right, but how do you fasten them?
You gotta
We don't
some
know. Right?
carabiners or something.
Something, right? Something. No answers, right? No, all just more questions. They're like, well, we're open source people. And you might have seen back here, they have all these nicely foamy padded things, right? Well, they're like $2,000 each. And I'm like, that's not practical. So let's open source this thing. So I have two friends that run gym-like places. One's Arizona Performance Institute, and one's Aerial Elevation. And they were getting rid of old foam scraps. So again, more stuff. And then my wife was happy enough to help, meaning do all the work, make our own using plywood, foam, vinyl, and a staple gun. The staple gun is really fun. And you end up with something that looks like that. You're like, wow, that's amazing. And that was maybe $30 to make instead of $2,000 to make each of those. So this is cool. Now we're not going to kick the ball into the rest of the house. That's a nice win.
Yep.
Then, of course, we're always extensible as engineers, right? So what's one of the funnest things to do at indoor soccer training?
Soccer tennis.
What is soccer tennis?
It's like volleyball except with a soccer ball, and the net is lower.
Is it a net or is it a block?
It's like a block.
So what do you think it helps you improve on in your game?
Your first touch and just your touch.
I probably forgot to say Otto wants to be a pro soccer player or pro footballer. And it's a big, big journey to get there, but that's his ambition. And so as a dad, I want to support that goal. So this space is about 300 square feet or like 28 square meters. So it's relatively small by soccer field standards, but relatively large by home soccer arena standards. So that one of the first upgrades is we built this soccer tennis divider. And what happens is the ball can bounce off it, over it, but it creates all sorts of new fun physics challenges. So it's good times. Then we got crazy. We're like, these windows, that's a scary option. So what we decided, how did we decide on this height for these things? Because we still want sunlight in the room, right? So you don't want to completely block out all your front room windows, but they have to be tall enough so that my shoulder doesn't go through the window when he shoves me into the ground or into the wall.
or my grandpa.
Oh, yeah. My parents are here for their first half stack right there. Yep. And they wanted to come in 2021, but COVID canceled that. So my son's grandfather, my dad, once shoved Otto into a tree when Otto schooled him with a rainbow. So that was pretty funny.
So last night I beat him 5-3.
Oh, good. Only 5-3? Were you like being easy on him?
I was going easy on him.
Okay, that's fair. All right. So of course we're like, this looks okay, but let's make some UX refinements. So I discovered the value of paracord, which lets you take. So there's 4 major corners. Each one took about an hour and a half to weave paracord in through this because I kept looking for shortcuts or ways to automate it or streamline it. And the more you try to do it once, the worse it goes. So you kind of have to just do 1 or 2 loops at a time and bring this entire cord through. And I wasn't sure if it was how long or how many times I'd have to weave it up. So I would do the whole like 100-foot long cord through. Good times, yes. So after Otto and I tested, we're like, we got to put this to some other users. And Lucas, where are you? Lucas, there he is. Lucas and those 2 boys, Ian and Mike, are right there. And they came over because they wanted to check out this soccer area. And so we're like, let's do some user testing. How did it go, boys? Pretty good? Thumbs up? It definitely wore them out properly. PE class, right? PE class. It was a really good time. Lucas and I were pretty dominant. We'll admit that, right? Yeah. The boys went down. That is fair to say. Even though I'm not competitive with kids, we crushed them. Then we were like, there's some problems. You were about to tell us the problem earlier. What was the problem with the soccer tennis thing?
So we put a bit of foam on it, but on one side it still had some wood, or at the top of it had wood. And I went for a volley, and I smashed my foot into the wood, and then I had like a injury for a bit. So
just like a nice gnarly bruise. I'm not going to show that photo because I don't want to be accused of anything I didn't do. It was the wood's fault. So we tore that thing apart, that thing in the middle, and we made it so that the wood is on the top instead of on the sides. Before it was on both sides. Now it's just on the middle, but there's foam. So even if you hit the edge, you shouldn't bump into the block. So we refactored on the fly, and we actually reused the materials, took it apart, rebuilt it with just minimal vinyl waste. So it's kind of like a good code refactor, recycling, etc. We do a lot of performance testing.
Yep.
There's this device and app called Player Maker, and it gives you live metrics. And unfortunately, it sends me PDFs every time he trains. And Otto last weekend was in the top 10 of all Player Maker wearers in shooting power, which was pretty cool. He's average in dribbling, which is great because defenders shouldn't dribble too much. And generally his speed and ability is pretty high. So clearly it's working. This is a performance metrics. We haven't really used the Player Maker inside because it would skew the metrics, but soccer is a serious thing. Like people do real testing for it. The software in general is pretty meh, but that's hopefully going to change. Obviously, all of our stuff is generally works in progress. This is him having another friend over. I think he cooked him pretty good. Cooking is a soccer metaphor for crushing your friends in a nice way, right?
Yep.
You're still dribbling over there, huh?
Uh-huh.
Good, good.
Ball mastery.
Ball mastery, yes. So if you know ball mastery in soccer, if you don't have it by the time you hit puberty, you pretty much never will. So like Messi reached his peak at ball mastery at age 12. And so if you don't have that skill by the time you hit puberty, your body won't have the flexibility you need to have maximal skill. So it's serious, serious business. Fearlessness is kind of a nice thing when building stuff, but also it's a good thing for when playing soccer. And hopefully the audio works, right? There we go. Yep. This is a free kick on a foul by the other team. The ref makes him wait like a minute. And like a good pro, he steps up, chips it, far post right over the goalie's head and in the goal. Yep. So Otto is a right defender, but he scores a lot of goals on plays like that, which is pretty cool. So defenders make the stops, they get the ball back, and then he has a smallest foot on the team, but probably the strongest shot. So JavaScript engineers, when we think about DIY projects, we do the insane, we do crazy stuff. I think we weren't given the green light until I heard my wife telling someone on the phone that how cool it is we were building this front room. And I rushed to put it in before she could change her mind. So what do you think? Was this a good, successful project? What needs to be done still?
We still need to, tighten the nets. We need to learn how to do that.
Yep.
Hopefully with one of our friends' help, but they haven't had much time.
Yep.
And yeah, we just need to have more testers.
Yeah, so any good project, it's unfinished and there's still work to do. But right now it's good enough for our needs and good enough for him to work on his soccer skills. So thank you.